Hey guys, so in this video we'll be looking at containers. Containers are used for two main things. The first one is sizing and styling your widgets, and the second one is for creating your backgrounds. So let's get going and let's create a first container. So here you have a column. We've created columns before, and let's just add a container inside the column. So here we have it. As always, it goes here on the top left hand corner. If we want to, here there's always this padding part. We can put say 20 on top and 20 on the side, and as you can see the container moves. But let's just put the container in the center. It's much easier, and we'll use the techniques we've used in the past with just the column itself. So you click on column, you put the alignment of a column in the center, and then you center this container to the middle. Done. Perfect. So we have it here middle, and now let's change the color of the container. So here we go, click on the container, select the fill color, and we choose the secondary one. We can choose any color you want, but let's just choose this one here. Perfect. Now we've changed the color. You can change the width here and height here. And then something else that's nice is, so right now it's a square container, but if you want to, you can also change it to a circle container like this. Perfect. Then other important things, let's just change it back to a square container. You can round off the corners by putting some border radius, so like this, as you can see. You can also, if you want to have the exact border radius, instead of moving it here, you can set it here as a number. If you just want to change one of the corners, not all of them, or a few of the corners, you can just click on here, choose the corners you want. So let's just show an example. Let's put 15 radius here. And so as you can see here now, all corners are still normal except for this one that's been rounded off. And then other than that, we have a border around here. Let's just first remove the border radius. Border width, so you can change the border color here, but you can also change the border width. So let's put this to 15, for example, and then now we have a big border. This is of course very wide. You don't need to make it this big, but you can choose it here. If you want to put a little bit of shadow on it, you can put some elevation. So for example here we have some shadow that's been put on. You can also add some shadow by using the box shadow just down here. I'd say one of the last main points is this part here. So the max width and the max height, min width and min height. So that's allowing your container, let's say we have some text inside. We can even try it out. So let's put some text inside this one here. We have hello world, and let's just remove, sorry, we have to go back to the container, remove the width and the height. And if you don't have any width and height, the container will just take the size of the element inside it. And let's say we want to have a max width of 200. Then here, as we can see, it hasn't changed anything. But if you start writing in the text widget, so we can just write, it keeps on writing until a certain point, and when we get to that max width, it stops. And this is quite useful for some elements that sometimes you don't mind it changing, but where you don't want it to go too far, get out of control. So there we go, that's for this. Let's put it back to hello world, and let's just remove text and put the container back with a width of 200 by 200. Perfect. So there we go. The last one is here you have background image that we can add and the gradient, but we'll show this when we set the background. So that's it for the basics of the properties. Now let's just go and show how we can use it for sizing the container. So here we have the same kind of row that we had when we did columns and rows. So we had created this in the past. I just copied one of these and put it here inside a column, just to give you an example. So it looks all nice and pretty still for now, but let's imagine that this text here was coming from the back end, and for some reason it got way out of control, way bigger. As you can see, it's not very nice. The sizing becomes too wide, and it's not the same size as before. And this we don't want. We want to keep each one of these the same size. So what you do is you just wrap this up in a container. So let's just take this column here, and then we right click, wrap widget in a container, and then we can put the max width and height. So let's say put 200 and 250, and there we go, we have a nice little container. We need to also remove this column. There's still some padding here, so let's just remove that, and now we have a container that keeps it all under control. Of course, as you can see, this is still not perfect. You have still some space between this and this, and so this is because this also needs to be in a container. So let's just set that up into container 2. So that's the first container, second container, second column. So let's put this in a container as well. Wrap widget, container, and then also put this 200 by 250, and then the last one, wrap widget, container, 200 by 250. As you can see now, they're all perfectly aligned and nicely put together. So that's it for containers.